On the 16th of December 1773, the Boston branch of the Sons of Liberty sabotaged a shipment of tea from the British East India Company arriving in the harbour, boarding the ship and throwing the valuable cargo into the sea. The event, known to history as the Boston Tea Party, prompted Parliament to pass a package of new punitive measures in 1774, which would collectively be known as the Intolerable Acts. One of these was the Boston Port Act of May 1774, which stipulated that the Port of Boston would remain closed to trade until money was paid to compensate the East India Company for the loss of the cargo. Jefferson and his colleagues in Virginia passed a resolution in solidarity with the Bostonians, and a couple of months later they called for an immediate ban on British imports, asserting that we will ever be ready to join with our fellow subjects in the defense of their constitutional rights. As opposition to the British authorities spread across the colonies, a Continental Congress was scheduled for the 5th of September in Philadelphia. Although Jefferson was not a delegate, he set about writing a set of instructions for Virginia's delegates, which among others included his cousin and former Attorney General Peyton Randolph, Patrick Henry, and a former British Army officer by the name of George Washington, who had played a part in the outbreak of the French and Indian War 20 years earlier. In his pamphlet, under the title A Summary View of the Rights of British America, Jefferson laid out the intellectual justification for the American cause to be treated as the equal of King George's subjects in Europe, pleading to the king to no longer persevere in sacrificing the rights of one part of the empire to the inordinate desires of another, but deal out to all equal and impartial right. At the age of 31, Jefferson's pamphlet made him a political celebrity across the 13 colonies and elevated him to the first rank among the advocates of the American cause, as well as demonstrating his skills as a political writer, which would remain in high demand. By late 1774, it was becoming clear both to the British and the American colonies that they were on the path to civil war. The colonies mobilized their militias to protect themselves against the prospect of a military crackdown by the British authorities, which sought to secure caches of weaponry and ammunition and prevent the colonials from using them. The first shots of the American Revolutionary War were fired at Concord and Lexington in Massachusetts on the 19th of April 1775, extinguishing any faint hopes of a reconciliation between Britain and the 13 colonies. The dispute